So, also nochmal vielen Dank. Ein super Rennen haben wir gesehen. Hier das erste Rennen der TCR Germany hier beim dritten Rennwochenende in Oschersleben.
The sun is shining down on the Oschersleben circuit here in Germany, but it could be so very different. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark James in the commentary box, welcoming you to this 35-minute qualifying session, as ever, split into two. The 20 minutes of Q1, a 5-minute break, and then the 10-minute thrash that is Q2 that will decide both grids for tomorrow's races here at Oschersleben. I mentioned the weather because if you were with us for free practice 2 a little earlier, you'll know that it changed oh so suddenly about halfway through the session. The session began dry, the rain began to fall, the cars came in, and well, that was pretty much it. That was all hopes of any improved times had gone. We're here at the Motorsport Arena in Oschersleben in what used to be East Germany. We're midway between Hanover and Berlin, if you want to place us on a map, and this is the circuit. 3.69 kilometers race distance, 17 laps, and we have, as per usual, 2 races for you tomorrow. It's a very pleasant afternoon. We're keeping our fingers crossed that the rain clouds stay away, but who knows? It's been on and off for the last couple of days, and the forecast for today was cloud and showers. I'm delighted to say that for the first time we can welcome viewers on Facebook Live to our live stream of the qualifying session. We tried it out in free practice 2 and it worked beautifully. And so we're confident that Facebook Live is added to YouTube and also to our websites, tcrseries.com and tcrseries.tv. And you'll need to put a little dash in between TCR and series. So some familiar faces, some not so familiar faces. That's one of the latter. That is the Liqui Moly Engstler car of Niklas Maxin, the 21-year-old German. As we take a look at the driver's point situation after 10 of 22 rounds of the TCR International Series. Last year's champion, Stefano Comini, has a 1-point lead over Pepe Oriola. And you may recall from last year, those two were the great rivals. It all went down to Macau, and a retirement for Oriola ultimately settled it in Comini's favour. But not the greatest of starts this year in Bahrain for both Comini and the Leopard Racing team, but they're now back on track, and so Comini leads Oriola at the head of the points table. And this weekend marks the halfway point in the series, 22 races. We've already had 10, so after race 1 tomorrow, we're exactly halfway through the TCR International Series, and who knows what the second half of the series will throw up. David Kajaya, 54 points from the 10 races so far. He's in 10th place in the championship, and Kajaya, an extremely popular driver here in the TCR International Series. So we're underway. The lights go green. 16 cars head out on track. I mentioned we've a couple of new faces. One from Germany we've already seen, Niklas Maxin. And at the other end of the age and experience scale is Gary Sheehan from the USA, the third American driver to take part in the TCR International Series. Gary Sheehan, who's won the United States Touring Car Championship. There he is in the third Liqui Moly Engstler car, and taking up position at the back of the field as they head out of the grid for this first 20-minute session. Gary Sheehan, 47 years of age, winner of the USTCC, currently second in a Hyundai, has come to Germany to look, to learn, and he found himself slightly surprised to find himself invited to take the wheel of the third Liqui Moly Engstler Volkswagen Golf. There then is Pepe Oriola. We know from experience that the Lukoil Craft Bamboo team like to do things very much in formation. Sliding around this short, twisty, tight track. This is one of the places that the stewards and the race director will be keeping an eye on. This is the chicane, turns 8 and 9, and you see the little collapsible bollards there just to mark the track limits. James Nash still in the pit lane. He's in the car though, and there doesn't seem to be any dramas, so he may well be that he'll just pop out and join his two colleagues. So an interesting season so far. 5 different pole sitters. Sergei Afanasiev, we saw him earlier. He was on pole right at the beginning of the year in Bahrain. Mato Homola, there he is on the left of your screen, took pole in Estoril in Portugal for rounds 3 and 4. Dusan Borkovic, extremely popular, particularly on social media, has a massive army of fans following him. He was on pole for rounds 5 and 6 at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Gianni Morbidelli, the evergreen Italian, on pole for his home race in Imola, but unfortunately it all fell apart for Gianni Morbidelli and the West Coast Racing team there. And then 2 weeks ago at the Salzburg Ring in Austria, Harold Procik, guest driver for the Liqui Moly Engstler team, on pole. Who will it be today? And why is James Nash sitting there? Is he saving his tyres? Doesn't seem bothered. There doesn't seem to be any activity around the car, so you'd hope that this is all planned as Mickey Cerruti comes into the pit lane in one of the 2 pretty little Alfa Romeo Giulietta cars. Peter Fulin had problems this morning. In free practice 1, he pulled up with a blue oil cloud, smoke cloud, trailing behind the car. But we've since found out that it was an oil leak from the gearbox, and so not the engine problem that he'd feared. He was actually 4th quickest in free practice this morning, so that Alfa getting quicker and quicker, and issues with the car, little niggles being ironed out as the season goes on. We're looking for lap times in around the 1:34, 1:35 mark. 1:35.3, Mato Homola's best time from free practice 1 this morning. Only 2 drivers have broken the 1:35 lap time mark so far this weekend, and that was back on Thursday in the final test session when both Comini and Oriola broke 1:35. We're already down to the 1:39s. Jean-Carl Vernet in the Leopard Racing Golf sets a 1:39. Gianni Morbidelli, quickest before the rain fell in FP2 this morning, a 1:40. Those times will tumble. Peter Fulin now a 1:39.7. And Antti Buri, you see there in the, I was going to say blue and yellow, but purple and yellow Seat, probably the busiest man of all this weekend. Not only is he driving in the 2 TCR international races, but the 2 TCR Germany races that share the bill here at Oschersleben. Oriola then gold in Sector 1, which means he set the best time of all. Morbidelli and Vernet, their best Sector 1 times too. So pace now starting to quicken. We're just about 5 minutes into the 20-minute session, and we can start to see times. Now who's that? Whoa, across the grass, through the gravel. That's one of the B3 racing cars. That is Attila Tassi, the young Hungarian driver, exploring the levels of grip. And that, I think, is going to be a feature throughout the weekend. Comments from several of the drivers saying that they're finding it difficult to get their tyres up to temperature on this German track. And also the feeling is, because of the long right-hand turn 2, that front left tyres could be an issue. Now, what's Oriola done? He goes quickest, a 1:36. No, indeed, Vernet tops it. Both drivers, a 1:36.958 for Oriola, a 1:36.941 for Vernet. So what's that? 17 hundredths of a second splitting the two. As Tassi goes back out, no long-term damage done. David Kajaya, a 1:36.922. He goes quickest. But I reckon those lap times can come down by probably getting on for 2 seconds if we're going to see the kinds of times repeated from Thursday's test, as Dusan Borkovic comes into the pits. Tyres waiting for him. So the times there on your screen. Kajaya from Vernay, Oriola, Sergei Afanasyev, Petr Fulin 5th, Mikhail Grachov, winner last time out in the Salzburg Ring, Gianni Morbidelli 7th, Nicolas Machin 8th, Mato Homola 9th, Dusan Borkovic 10th, then it's Comini, Attila Tassi, Gary Sheehan 13th, then Antti Buri, James Nash, who's only just gone out, and Michaela Cerruti, who's having problems in the number 88 car in the Alpha. So Oriola on a charge, best sector 1 time. Vernay, best sector 2 time. What can these two do? They cross the line. Oriola goes quickest. Then does Vernay. No sooner had I said it that the times popped up. The times slowly creeping down. 1:36.263 for Vernay. 1:36.448 for Oriola. And Morbidelli's also popped in a 1:36.574 with Afanasyev 4th, 1:36.642. So the top 5 covered by just over 0.6 of a second. Kajaya 1:36.425, second quickest. But Homola is on a charge, 2 gold sector times. What can he do? Indeed, quickest, 1:36.077. A 10th, nearly 2/10 quicker than Vernay. We're still not quite halfway through this first part as Michaela Cerruti goes 10th quickest. Top 12 go through, remember, to Q2. And then it's the top 10 reversed in Q2 that forms the grid for race 2 tomorrow. What was that in the background? Well, we're looking at Machin, and there is Tassi outbraking himself at turn 1, taking to the escape road. And this turn 1, we suspect, is going to be a real issue tomorrow at the start of both races. It's virtually a 90-degree left-hand bend, turn 1, and it's very, very narrow. Vernay heads up to the line. What can he do? Quickest, 1:35.748, the first driver to beat 1:36 in this session. So 0.3 exactly quicker than Sergei Afanasyev. Vernay then, quickest so far. Then Afanasyev, then Homola, then Oriola, then Morbidelli, then Kajaya. Petr Fulin 7th. Cerruti still 10th, so both Alphas, as things currently stand, will go through to Q2. Homola though, still on a charge, as Kajaya goes 4th. What can Homola do? He crosses the line. Quickest, 1:35.294, nearly half a second quicker than Vernay. Where did he find that time? And so far, both Homola and Borkovic have been on pole position, but the B3 Racing team from Hungary still looking for their first race victory in the TCR International Series. Nash's pace is improving. Green sectors 1 and 2 for him, so his best sector times currently 13th, so outside the top 12. There is Nash. Sheehan, disappointing second sector time for him. So 16th so far, not having set a representative lap time. There is Grachov, 2-time winner already this season, carrying just 10 kilos of success ballast here. And Grachov, you have to say, has been absolutely transformed since making the switch to West Coast Racing. Currently 10th, improves to 8th, but that's enough. It's all about top 12 in this section of qualifying. 9 minutes just over remaining. Homola still quickest. What can Buri do? 11th at the moment. Green sectors 1 and 2, so he will improve, or at least he should improve. And indeed he does. Buri, 7th briefly, then drops to 8th. Comini pops in a time of 1:35.494, 2/10 exactly off Homola's pace. Homola quickest so far then Comini, then Venet, so Leopard second and third at the moment as Homola comes into the pits. Morbidelli fourth, Avanasiev fifth, Kajaya sixth. And as I said that, James Nash goes fourth, so pushing Morbidelli down to fifth, Avanasiev sixth, Kajaya seventh, Tassi eighth, Oriola ninth, Buri 10th, Fulin now 11th, and Grachov 12th. Makshin and Cheruti drop out of the top 12 places. Sheehan 15th, his best lap time 1:43, so 8 seconds off the pace. Grachov, Makshin and Sheehan all improving. Sheehan massively so. Grachov comes round the right-hander, the final turn, turn 14. Comes up to the line, improves a place. So Grachov goes from 12th to 11th. What can Makshin do? He's 13th currently. Message from race, nope, not a message from race control. Oh, indeed, 54. James Nash, last lap disallowed because of track limits. Now, race director was saying yesterday in the driver's briefing that they would have yet again marshals out, judges of fact, looking to see about track limits, particularly at the chicane, turns 8 and 9. So what did James Nash do? His best lap time, his last lap time, excuse me, disallowed. As Borkovic comes up to the line, currently 16th and slowest, he's not going to be happy with that. Cool, that's enough, 12th. Still not safe though. Still just under 7 minutes of the session remaining. Mato Homola still quickest in the pits. Stefano Comini second. Jean-Carl Venet third, James Nash fourth, Gianni Morbidelli fifth. Those 5 drivers within 6/10 or so of each other. Then Avanasiev, Kajaya, Tassi, Oriola, Buri, with Grachov and Borkovic, the other 2 drivers to go through to Q2 as things currently stand. 1.1 seconds separating the top 12, so things, as ever in the TCR International Series, extremely tight at the top. As we look at Gary Sheehan, 47 years of age, born in New York, lives in California, and wouldn't it be great if he went through to Q2 on his debut in the TCR International Series? I know there's an awful lot of interest from the States on social media about Gary. As we look at Borkovic, his best sector times in 1 and 2, 3/10 quicker in sector 2. Keeps 2 wheels inside the white line on the track. Same again, exploring track limits but not breaking them. That's what it's all about. He turns onto the start-finish straight, 12th currently. What is Dusan Borkovic going to do as he comes up to the line, crosses it now? 4th quickest for Borkovic. He'll be happy with that. His teammate's still quickest. But it's Q2 that counts, remember. As long as you're in the top 12 in Q1, that'll do nicely. The 4 drivers that currently miss out are Fulin, 13th, Makshin, 14th, Gary Sheehan, 15th, and Michela Cheruti, who's in the pits, 16th. And Buri also improving. 0.09 of a second quicker in sector 1 for him. He takes this long back straight, comes through the trigger point for sector 2, green there as well. Nearly 2/10 up, so Buri, currently 11th, should improve if I don't jinx him in this final sector. Buri, you'll remember, made his International Series debut in Spa and finished a fine 3rd, helping the Leopard Racing team with that 1, 2, 3 lock out of the podium places. He comes up to the line. No, indeed, lost it on the last sector. Buri then stays 11th as we look at Peter Fulin. currently 13th, needs to improve. As Pepe Oriola now goes gold in Sector 1. So Fullin starts his first flying lap after coming out of the pits. Oriola very much on a charge, gold in both sectors 1 and 2. Oriola currently 10th and in danger, in theory, but you'd have to say that he'd be unlucky to get knocked down 3 places. But what can he do as he crosses the start-finish line now and quickest? Pepe Oriola, a 1:34.779, over half a second quicker than Mato Homola. And so, I was mentioning earlier that only 2 men have broken the 1:35 lap time barrier here at Oschersleben this weekend. And one of them is Oriola. Just to prove it wasn't a fluke, he's done it again. 1:34.779, quickest in the session. That'll do, Pepe. Michaela Cerruti on her outlap as the clock steadily ticks down. There's Fullin in the other car, 13th at the moment, not improving. A second down on his Sector 2 time. And so I think everyone's willing these alphas to improve, to up their game. The car squirreling slightly there, but I don't think Fullin's going to improve this time. But there's 1 lap remaining, at least 1 lap remaining, as he crosses the line. That was a 1:36.580, so about a 10th, just over a 10th slower than his best. And Sheehan's last lap has been disallowed. So 1:37.294 for Gary Sheehan, his best lap. That's not being allowed by the race director and the stewards. Again, I assume it's track limits. Grachov on a charge, although only in Sector 1. Sector 2 is way off. Sheehan, though, 2 seconds up. As Grachov comes round, currently 12th, and so wanting to improve, just so he's out of danger. No, indeed. Still 12th. Best lap time of 1:36.278. And car 7, David Kajaya. Track limits are under review for him, which means that the stewards are taking a look back at video of, I guess, the chicane, turns 8 and 9. They were warned. Fullin, though, improved. Half a second up in Sector 2. What can he do? He heads up to the line, 13th quickest. Yes, 9th for Peter Fullin. Well done. That's a little bit of partisanship. I apologize, but I really would like to see the alphas do well here. And it's Grachov who suffers. Mikhail Grachov drops down to 13th because of Fullin's improvement. What can Grachov do? As the checkered flag is about to fall at the end of the session, I suspect that's not enough. Nearly half a second off in Sector 2. And there is the checkered flag. Q1 is over. They're on the long back straight now between turns 10 and 11. No, indeed. 1.3 seconds down in Sector 2. Avanasiev and Buri improving in Sector 1. Buri, though, backing off in Sector 2. And Buri 12th at the moment, which means he will go through. Homola's taken the flag. Komini is in the pits. Vinay is in the pits. Borkovic has taken the flag. But they're all safe. Grachov takes the flag, 13th. He misses out. Sheehan has taken the flag, 15th. He misses out. Cerruti is in the pits. She misses out. Phew. Peter Fullin, well done. And Makshin. Nicholas Makshin, the 21-year-old German, 14th quickest, trying a little too hard perhaps to improve and get into Q2, but no, indeed, 14th is where he will finish the session. And so, with Grachov, Sheehan and Cerruti all having taken the checkered flag and Maksin having spun, they won't improve. So the top 12 that go through will be Pepe Oriola, Mato Homola, Stefano Comini, Sergei Afanasiev, Jean-Carl Venet, Dusan Borkovic, James Nash, Gianni Morbidelli, Petr Fulin, yay, David Kajaya, Attila Tassi and Antti Buri. 5 minutes the gap between Q1 and Q2. And indeed, Maksin takes the flag, doesn't improve, and they are all either in the pits or coming in, having taken the checkered flag. Afanasiev, come on Sergei, round you go. So despite the fact that Pepe Oriola was saying, this is probably going to be a Volkswagen track, it's not a big deal here about aerodynamics, and really I think the Seats will struggle. You have got Seat number 1, Seat number 2, and then it's the first of the Volkswagen. Stefano Comini, third quickest. Jean-Carl Venet in 5th. And a round into the very, very long pit lane here at Oschersleben. And the pit lane speed limit starts quite early. And so the frustration, not so much for Mikhail Grachov because he misses out on Q2, but certainly for Sergei Afanasiev, who'll have to come all the way around into the pit lane. And the clock ticking down until Q2 starts. And I think Grachov was under investigation for track limits, but no further action will be taken, says a message on my timing screen. So irrelevant. Grachov doesn't go through to Q2 anyway, so he'll be thinking, if only I'd pushed, if only I'd made it a little bit harder for the others. But in he comes, his qualifying done. He will start both races from 13th on the grid. So, qualifying 1 then. Pepe Oriola quickest, 1:34.779. Homola, Comini, Afanasiev, Venet, Borkovic, Nash, Morbidelli, Fulin and Kajaya round off the top 10. 1.3 seconds separating the top 10. And the other two to go through, Attila Tassi and Antti Buri, both in Seats. Missing out then Grachov, Maksin, Sheehan, and sadly, if you're an Alpha fan, Michele Cerruti. As we look at the three B3 racing cars, Borkovic in the distance, Homola in the middle, and closest to the camera, young Attila Tassi. What can they do in this second 10-minute thrash of qualifying that will decide the grids for both of tomorrow's races? I mentioned right at the beginning of the broadcast that the skies were blue and the sun was shining. The clouds are building, but they're not the dark clouds that we saw early on. Just a handful of seconds then before. Now let's hear from Mikhail Grachov. And he's talking to our man down in the pits, Alfredo Filippone.
Mikhail Grachov, difficult qualifying. What happened?
Yeah, there was some problem. We still don't know exactly what was wrong, but we'll find it out, check the data and understand what was wrong.
And how you see the rest of the weekend?
What?
How do you see the rest of the weekend?
I hope I will continue my winning line next day, because it's still qualify. And as you can see, last event I won from position 9, so everything is possible here in TCR, and we will continue.
Well done.
Thanks, Mikhail. That's the spirit. I may be 13th, but I'm not giving up. So then, 12 cars stream out of the pit lane. 2 still there, including Petr Fulin. So already on track are Kamini, Vernet, Kajaya, Morbidelli, Buri, Nash, Borkovic, Homola, Oriola and Avanasiev. Now there's the chicane. There are those bendable bollards that they can take, but they need to be very careful, because if they just skim the bollards, they're leaving their two outside wheels just outside the white line. But you don't want to get too close. The judge of fact watching that area is watching very closely. Still waiting for Peter Fullin to go out. 11 cars now out on track. Now, can that man, Gianni Morbidelli, improve his weekend? Didn't look particularly positive when we spoke to him at the end of free practice 2. Morbidelli, already pole in Imola and a race winner in Estoril. And indeed, Peter Fullin now is out on track. So all 12 of the cars that are eligible for Q2 are out on track. There is Mickey Cerruti. And there is John Gentry on the left in the white shirt talking to Mickey to see what issues, if any, there were from that session. And I know one of the issues they were talking about earlier, both Peter Fullin and Michele Cerruti were saying that the gearbox electronics are throwing up unexpected glitches. Fullin's car changed down from 4th to 1st on its own during one of the test sessions on Thursday, and Cerruti's car was not letting her firstly change down and then change up, so it had a mind of its own. As Fullin is running slowly on the left of your screen, and then tucks in, it's okay, tucks in behind the Volkswagen. So we're now on flying laps. The two Leopard cars running not quite together. Slipstream not the issue here that it was in Salzburg Ring with that long back straight up the hill. So Jean-Carl Vernet heads across the line then. So Vernet and Kamini already setting times in the 1:37s. Kamini quickest so far, a 1:37.081, 1:37.385 for Vernet. Kajaya next, 1:38.440. Boomf, in goes Sergei Avanasiev, 1:36.6. So they're all on flying laps. Relatively short, twisty circuit here. Nash goes quickest, a 1:35.9. So sectors 1 and 2, very tight and twisty. Long open hairpin effectively right, it's turn 2. A short sprint up to turn 3, a long hairpin left. The only real long straights on the track, the start-finish straight and the back straight between turns 10 and 11. They're just about to go around turn 10 now. There they are, then turn 11 is the slight right-hander. Nash quickest so far, then a 1:35.926. Homola on a flyer. Gold sectors 1 and 2. There are the two Leopard cars. Vernet and Kamini both improving on their sector 1 and 2 times. The Leopard team checking their fingernails. What can they do? Homola, though, goes quickest, a 1:35.13. Vernet second, Kamini third, 1:35.272 and a 1:35.717 respectively. Track limits, cars 2 and 22. So 2 is Jean-Carl Vernet, 22 is Peter Fullin, and 77 is Borkovic. Sorry, 77, excuse me, is Avanasiev. There he is. His last lap has been disallowed, as have Vernet and Fullin. So 2 and 22 losing their last lap times because of track limits. That's why you see all 4 of Sergei Avanasiev's wheels across the white line there. Borkovic goes second, 1:35.190. 500ths of a second, 600ths of a second very nearly, slower than Mato Homola. So B3 Racing, 1 and 2 at the moment. James Nash drops to third, Avanasiev fourth, Pepe Oriola fifth. Then it's Comini, Venet 10th quickest, but of course, if he stays there, that means he's on pole for race 2. Buri 11th, Fullin 12th. Fullin effectively not having set a lap time in this sector, in this session. Attila Tassi's lap time now under review, so stewards are taking a very strict line on track limits. As Mato Homola crosses the line, 1:35.131, 1:35.131 quickest for Mato Homola, as Venet improves to fifth, 1:35.545. 9/10ths of a second separating the top 10. Fullin goes 10th, then gets knocked down to 11th by Morbidelli. Buri goes 8th. Venet 5th, Comini 7th and in the pits. Nash goes second, splitting the two B3 cars. So Homola now, Nash, Borkovic, Avanasiev, Venet, Oriola, Comini. 2.5 minutes of the session remaining. Borkovic goes quickest. 1:34.872. He beats the 1:35 barrier. The third man this weekend to do so. Fantastic lap from Borkovic. Venet improving. Buri improving. Buri currently 8th. Venet currently 5th. Venet still improving. Well, that's a handy graphic. Morbidelli currently 10th and so on pole for race 2. But Venet improving, Buri improving. Here comes Venet heading up to the line. What can he do? He improves to third, so it's Borkovic, Homola, Venet, Nash, Avanasiev. Morbidelli improves to 7th. Borkovic still the quickest man on a 1:34.872. With a fraction over a minute of the session remaining, what can they do? So as things currently stand, Borkovic on pole for race 1. Kajaya on pole for race 2. Kajaya currently in the pits. Comini improves. Nope, I think that was an error. Comini's on an outlap. He couldn't have improved. And Buri, though, does improve. Antti Buri, the Finn, improves to 5th. So it's now Borkovic still. Provisional pole position for race 1. Mato Homola alongside him on the grid. Then Venet 3rd, Nash 4th, Buri 5th, Avanasiev 6th, Oriola 7th, Comini potentially could be on a quick lap. Ooh. Track limits, they're not going to get across the line in time, or are they? Did he take the checkered flag? Yes, he did. So Comini will not get another lap. It was within a whisker of him crossing the line in time to get another lap in, but no indeed. And Comini drops to 9th because of Morbidelli improving to 7th. There is Avanasiev, currently 6th. He takes the checkered flag. So Nash not improving. There is James Nash coming up to the line now, currently 4th, and takes the checkered flag, so 4th is where he stays. Dusan Borkovic takes his 2nd pole position of the year with a lap time of 1:34.872. 2.5 tenths quicker than Mato Homola, so an all B3 Racing front row for race 1 tomorrow. David Kajaya will start race 2 from pole position. And the two men who lose out, Peter Fullin, 11th, Attila Tassi, still out on track. His best lap time, a 1:36.32, so less than a second and a half splitting those top 12, with less than a second covering the top 10. And again, track limits coming in. Car 10, last lap disallowed, so Morbidelli's last lap, which is where he snatched 7th, will be disallowed because of track limits. So, Comini is restored to 6th. As Peter Fullin brings the Alfa Romeo around this long pit lane entry and into Parc Fermé. But on the left of your screen, now, is that timing screen accurate? Because there have been a few glitches. Borkovic, though, definitely quickest, ahead of Mato Homola. Venet 3rd, Nash 4th, Buri 5th, Avanasiev 6th, Morbidelli 7th, then Pepe Oriola, then Stefano Comini, and 10th, David Kajaya. So pole for race 2 for him. Peter Fullin 11th, Attila Tassi is 12th. What will Pepe Oriola have to say about that, I wonder? And Oriola, success ballast free this weekend. Not, I suspect, happy with 8th, but at least he's ahead of Comini, and the two will be scrapping, I suspect, for race 2. That's the confirmation then that the tallest man in the TCR International Series, Dusan Borkovic, won the Hawkers Fan Award in the Salzburg Ring for that amazing overtake maneuver at the start of lap 5. If you haven't seen it, go and look for it. It is amazing. He will start race 1 tomorrow from pole position with his teammate Mato Homola alongside, Jean-Carl Venet 3rd, Nash 4th, Buri 5th, Avanasiev 6th, Morbidelli 7th, Pepe Oriola 8th, Stefano Comini 9th, and David Kajaya in 10th. That, I suspect, will make for a very interesting turn 1 in race 2, with Comini, I suspect, determined to get ahead of pole sitter David Kajaya in the run down for turn 1. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's nearly 24 hours away, or in fact a little over 24 hours away. That's race day. That's Andriana Borkovic saying, well done, hubby. Just what we needed you to do. So pole position in Spa, pole position here in Oschersleben for Dusan Borkovic, and I wondered if that character on the left-hand side of Dusan was going to pop in. Let's catch up with Dusan Borkovic, and he'll be talking to Alfredo Filippone.
Qualifying master and race disaster.
Dusan Borkovic, pole position, well done. It's the second pole this year. How you feel?
Now I'm at the end. I didn't know. I heard that I'm on the pole, but I thought that somebody will improve. Anyway, I'm really happy for this because this is the second pole, but of course I'm not happy because somebody says to me, I think that maybe engineer from Poo, and he said the perfect thing, like, you're the qualifying master and race disaster. So I did a lot of, I had some bad luck in the races, but I'm happy because every time we are showing, my team and me, we are showing the speed, and I'm happy because of that. Of course, I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but this qualifying is good for my self-confidence.
Well done, congratulations, and we hope that tomorrow you'll change the disaster into success.
Thank you very much.
That's a brave man. Would you say that to 6 feet 8 inches tall Dusan Borkovic? The qualifying master and the race disaster. Look at the height difference between Dusan and James Nash. And there is the Pommery pole position board, the pictures. Congratulations from Mato Homola for his teammate. Now then, guys, what are you going to do tomorrow? Ah, and there is the character I mentioned. We're trying to work out if he's a duck, a pigeon, or a chicken. That's it from qualifying. See you tomorrow.